the title of Passages in the Pure Land Way. The close relationship between Passages on the Pure Land Way and Teaching, Practice, and Realization raises the question of the order of composition, but unfortunately, scholarly opinion remains divided on this issue. Nevertheless, the question is important, for it has a direct bearing on the nature of Passages on the Pure Land Way. If Passages on the Pure Land Way was written after Teaching, Practice, and Realization, it may be considered a presentation of the essential points of Teaching, Practice, and Realization. If prior, it would seem to be an outline for the longer work. It is sometimes argued that since Passages on the Pure Land Way treats Shinjin within the section on practice, it has a partially formed structure that was later clearly articulated in Teaching, Practice, and Realization, and therefore is an earlier draft of the longer work. As shown above, however, in Shinran's thought, practice and Shinjin are inseparable, and while in Teaching, Practice, and Realization he created a separate chapter on Shinjin to emphasize this point for those within traditional Buddhist ways, in Passages on the Pure Land Way, where he addresses practicers within the Pure Land Path, a separate section was unnecessary. That is, in Passages on the Pure Land Way, Shinran moved toward a resolution of the contradiction between the title and content of Teaching, Practice, and Realization. Passages on the Pure Land Way and Teaching, Practice, and Realization are basically identical in content, and differences in structure are best accounted for by viewing Passages on the Pure Land Way as a condensation of the essentials of Teaching, Practice, and Realization, intended for those within the Pure Land Path. In content, Passages on the Pure Land Way seems to assume the existence of Teaching, Practice, and Realization. The postscript to Teaching, Practice, and Realization states, quote, "Summarizing the true essence, I have gathered important passages of the Pure Land teaching," close quote. Thus, Teaching, Practice, and Realization appears to share the same general intent as Passages on the Pure Land Way. In Teaching, Practice, and Realization, however, numerous and lengthy quotations, which serve to give proof for Shinran's assertions, make up by far the greater part of the work, and Shinran's summaries and conclusions are brief. By contrast, in Passages on the Pure Land Way, the quotations are few, and Shinran's summaries make up the greater part. Thus, Passages on the Pure Land Way may be considered a condensation in that the quotations supporting Shinran's assertions have been omitted. They were no longer necessary, for they had already been presented in Teaching, Practice, and Realization. Passages on the Pure Land Way has few quotations, but it is nevertheless called Monrui Jusho because it is a summary, or sho, based on the existence of Teaching, Practice, and Realization. Since almost all of the passages quoted in Passages on the Pure Land Way may also be found in Teaching, Practice, and Realization, the meaning of Monrui in the title refers not only to the quotations included, but also the quotations in Teaching, Practice, and Realization. To conjecture on the basis of the above, Shinran wrote Teaching, Practice, and Realization in order to make the standpoint of single practice of the Nembutsu established by Honen more thoroughgoing, and to make its position within the world of Buddhism of that time firmer. After he finished it, he considered the needs of those within the Nembutsu path, or conceivably was asked by disciples, and, extracting the essentials from the lengthy original work, made the simpler, short version. To conjecture further, it is possible that basically he extracted the passages he himself wrote from the longer work and then added the minimal, absolutely essential quotations. In any case, for the reasons outlined above, it appears most natural and plausible to view Passages on the Pure Land Way as a condensation of Teaching, Practice, and Realization, presenting the essentials of the longer work. Thus, from Passages on the Pure Land Way, we are able to know the most important issues of Teaching, Practice, and Realization, And it is possible to say that one need not necessarily read Teaching, Practice, and Realization in order to grasp the core of Shinran's Buddhism, that is, to realize Shinjin.